Five, four, three, two, one. You're live.
Good morning and welcome to the July meeting of the Las Palmas Grand Residents Association. We're glad to have you all here in person in the room, and we're glad to have people watching us on the YouTube channel. We welcome them as well. Before we get started, we just want to remind you, we do the 50-50 every month. The tickets are $1 each or 3 for $2. And if you're interested in that, during the session, you can come up there to Pam and she'll help you get a ticket. And then we have Lois has the tickets and Gail in the back over there. Sorry about that. Raise your hand and they'll come around. And then we have 2 door prizes to distribute at the end of the meeting for those who are here in person. So thank you. So let's get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll all stand and repeat with me. Here's the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. What I'd like to do is introduce the board members. I'm your president, Margaret Jacoby, and Peggy Marcone right here is our first vice president. And Pam Williams on the end is our secretary. Our second vice president, Sue Smith, is in the hospital recovering. She had back surgery yesterday. Her husband tells us that she's coming along. She just has some issues with the intubation. Sometimes it takes a little more recovery from that than it does your actual surgery. But Sue seems to be doing well. We miss her here at the meeting and send her our good wishes for a speedy recovery. And then our treasurer is Walt Smiles. And I think Walt and Lesta might be watching us on YouTube. They're in their summer home in Michigan. So hi, Walt and Lesta. The next item on your agenda, you should have a couple copies on your table, is the minutes from the open meeting of June the 3rd. They were posted on our website. And they were sent out to our email list. If you're not receiving information from the association, not from Thesman or LPG, but from the association, you just need to give us your email address and we'll be glad to add you to the list. You can send us your request to our email box, which is lpgrabord@gmail. That's lpgraboard@gmail.com. We can't go through the membership list or get the names from the office. You have to tell us you want to be on our list and we'll do that. So we have these minutes that have been distributed and posted. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from the previous open meeting? Dan, thank you. A second. Bud, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed and any abstentions? Okay, great. The minutes are adopted. The treasurer's report, since Walt's not here, I'm substituting for Walt. Our balance on the 3rd of June was $756.97. We obtained money from the 50-50 on May the 6th for $8 and June the 3rd for $16.50. And from the recycling of the cans on June 10th and June 24th, we received $50. So that made a total income of $831.67. And then we had our website updated. We had a new page created for a neighborhood watch. And we had door prizes for the next couple of meetings. So the total for that was $120, which leaves us $711.67 as of today, July the 1st. So any questions on the treasurer's report? Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Bud, thank you. Gail, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Perfect, thank you. Okay, we're going to zoom through this because our meeting is not real packed for the summer. Old business will have a neighborhood watch report. Sally York is going to come and give us the latest neighborhood watch. Thank you.
Good morning. Good to be here. I think my biggest update is I just got back from a 10-day trip to Washington to see my 5 grandchildren for the first time in a year now. That's my big news. But anyway, we had a really good information session on June 10th for Neighborhood Watch. And we had over 60 folks here, about half from Las Palmas, other half from Las Palmas Grand. And George Griffin and Don Blake. Probably. I'm sorry. Did I do anything to cause that? No, okay. Sorry. But anyway, George Griffin from Las Palmas, who has a security background in his career, and Don Blake from the Mesa Police Department presented, and it was very, very interesting and informative. The session was videotaped, and Larry Smith and I will be working on post-editing highlights, the best information from that session to post on the LPGRA website, hopefully later this month. That's on our to-do list right now to work on. In the updates, Las Palmas had the street captain training for their street leaders. They have 27 sections and they have 27 street leaders, and about 9 of those street leaders or street captains were able to attend their training session. They used to outline, and they're going to update and revise that outline based on all the feedback and discussion from that session, and then share that with me this week so that when our committee meets on July 13th from 3 to 4 p.m. in the card room, we will review that and see if we need to update it to tailor the needs of our community here. And then at that committee meeting, we will select a date to schedule our first street captain training here at Las Palmas Grand. So please stay tuned. I will be sending out emails if you're on the email list I've made. If you'd like to be on the email list, you don't have to be a street captain, but if you just want to stay informed about the program, just email me at lpgnwp@gmail.com. And I will add you to our Neighborhood Watch email list. And I am sending out an update, at least once a month on how far we're coming along with our program here. There's a lot of detail involved with forms and specific information, instructions. So it's kind of a slow process to build this program to make it work here so that it's doable and manageable and practical. So we're letting Las Palmas take the lead in organizing the street captains and the forms, and then we're adapting what they're doing to make it work here. We have about 81 sections on the map for our community. I've broken it down into 15 houses or less. So anywhere from 4 to 15 houses in each section to make it easy and doable. We don't want it to be overwhelming for anyone. And you're welcome to have, if you want to be a street captain and you want someone else on your block to help you, it's fine to have co-captains or backups, whatever works for you. But the primary goals of this program are to have good communication and good information that's shared that will help us all be safe and have a good quality of life here in the community. We're different than a public neighborhood with people of all ages, but we have more specific needs here that we want to really keep in mind. And that includes for individuals who may be living alone or have health concerns that involve safety, like falls or risk for medical events. And our snowbird, we have a snowbird population here. They have concerns for their property. And so it's, we're trying to keep all this in mind as we develop or adapt the program for our community this time around. Las Palmas has initiated a request to Thesman Management for vests, so that street captains can wear a vest if they have to go door to door, like to pass out information. So if they wear the vest that says Neighborhood Watch and their name pin, you'll know they're not soliciting. And Thesman Management is being kept informed about everything we do, so that we have their support and any information from them to include in the program. So those vests are on order. We'll be getting those probably later this summer. The next thing our committee is going to be working on, in addition to scheduling a street captain training, is developing a caretaker communication list. This is something that's been very effective over at Las Palmas in keeping caretakers informed about any incidents that may create the need for them to go check on their properties that they're caretaking for while snowbirds are gone. This has been a very helpful element of the program over at Las Palmas. And we have learned from management, if something happens to a snowbird property and it's reported to the office, they only call the homeowner. It's the homeowner's responsibility to notify their caretaker, unless a neighbor knows who the caretaker is and does that informally. So we'd like to organize that communication with all caretakers so that they can go check on their homes if something occurs that they should be aware of. And we have had some success stories already. We've had a couple of outdoor just property incidents involving irrigation systems that were caught by neighbors on snowbird properties. And those things were communicated to the homeowners, I think, fairly quickly, because people are more aware of the importance of good communication here. And some valuable property was found and returned to an owner. So, these are the kinds of things that this program addresses, as well as any outdoor or outside intruders coming into the property, but just looking out for each other in practical ways. I do have a sign-up list with me. It's on the table there. I have the list of all the sections for LPG and the units it involves and the street it's on. It's organized by street name. And then I have the map that people can look at to see how many houses are in their sections and what the nearby sections are. So that's available. And if anyone wants to be on an email list, they can come see me afterwards as well. In terms of any crime updates, I've been keeping tabs on spotcrime.com. If you look at that website or app, you can look up the 2500 block of Ellsworth Road, and that represents LPG. Any police incidents are reported on there usually within 24 to 48 hours. They're reported only for LPG, no unit numbers are reported on that public app, only 2500 block of South Ellsworth. And so if you keep that in mind and check that app periodically, you'll see what types of police calls have been here. And in the last month, it's mainly been, I think, a couple of other incidents that are not crime related. But you can see also what's going on in the surrounding area. We have surrounding shopping centers and other communities around the area, so you can kind of see what's going on there too as well. Have any of you heard of, in terms of scams, have any of you heard of call ghosting? Call ghosting. Has anyone heard of that as a scam yet? That's something I just learned about. Call ghosting is happening more often now, and it's happened to me in the last week 3 times. I've gotten a phone call from the USAA, my insurance company, USAA customer service number. It was a scam. Scammers are now able to use the phone number of reputable businesses, individuals, whatever they choose, on their caller ID. I don't know how it works, but they're doing it. That's another name for it. Thank you. Caller ID spoofware. So it's software that they can buy to put your name or any business name in as the caller ID name. And when I realized this was a scam, because when I did take the time to answer it, they wanted me to confirm my email, which was incorrect, not the email I use with USAA. And it was, I can see where some people could be fooled. And when I called USAA, they said they're aware that it's going on and that they will never call on the phone requesting information. They will contact you by your preferred contact methods that you have specified for your account, whether it's text or email. And then it's up to you to make a phone call back. But I've heard other individuals have received phone calls from scammers using someone's name, an individual's name. So it looks like someone is calling you that knows who you are. And so anyway, don't answer the phone if you don't know who it is. And if a bank or anyone related with any finance or financial information tries to call you, please don't give out any information. Be very aware that that could be a scam. Are there any questions or any other information we should share? Yes, Hank.
Hank, would you go to the microphone,
Oh.
please?
Of course, thank you. I didn't see
Yep.
that. Thank you. I happen to have an iPhone. I'm not sure if this works on Androids or not, but on my phone, phone calls are blocked or not rung on the phone if they're not in my contacts list. So if it's an unknown caller, if you prefer not to answer calls from unknowns, you can set that up on your phone where it automatically doesn't ring. It just goes into, who knows, the cloud, they never land. But before that, my phone was constantly ringing, constantly, until I had that set up on my phone.
That's a good tip too. Thank you. Yes. Spotcrime.com. Yes. So I've nothing else. Oh, yes, Bud.
I don't know how many of you have heard it or seen it. Robocalls are now totally illegal. Robocalls, period. That's a federal law. So if you get a robocall, take down any information you get, don't ever answer it. Take down every and report it to the FCC.
Yeah, robocalls are now illegal.
Totally illegal.
And if you get any, take down the number and report to the FCC.
Do not call .gov.
Not .com. Do not call .gov.
On there, that website.
Go to the FCC website.
That's it.
Thank you. Yes. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sally. As you can see, Sally's working really hard to get Neighborhood Watch up to the standards that Neighborhood Watch really requires and that the Mesa PD would like to see. So she's working really closely with Las Palmas, and we're happy about that, and hoping to get other Thesman communities in that same loop and doing Neighborhood Watch in all the Thesman communities. So thank you, Sally, once again. Our newsletter editor is Sue, and Sue's not here, as we said. So Peggy has a little report on behalf of Sue.
Okay, so I've talked about the resident news letter before. It's the LPGRA Observer. It comes out quarterly. Our next deadline for any submissions is August 1st. We're hoping that people will contribute. This is a way, like Nancy was saying in our Java time, get to know the community, get familiar with who's who and where they are. And I think even going along with Neighborhood Watch, the more, if you know people, if we're a tighter community, we can assist each other, whether it's in watching homes or watching out for each other, whatever. But that's one of the purposes of the Observer. Sue Smith is in charge of, she's our, what would you call? our editor. So she's not here today, so I'm stepping in for her. We do have forms that are up here on the table if you would like to get one, or you can get one also on our website. The lpgra.org website has those forms. Even if you take one just to keep it at home in case something pops into your head that you'd like to submit, it's right there. You can do it real easy. There's instructions on how to submit these. If you're someone that can think of something that you'd like to see in the Observer, but you're not really an author or want to take the time to write something up, let somebody on the board know, or let Sue Smith know, and let us take care of that, just so that we get the information out there. Suggestions are, it's a current LPG story, something that happened to you on your way to wherever. A favorite recipe, a poem, a quote, or a joke. And I know we have a lot of jokesters in here. Some of your history that others might be interested in hearing, an experience that you had at LPG. And right now, a lot of people are going away for summertime. Maybe you want to talk about where you went for your vacation this year to get out of the heat. So it's pretty much whatever you'd like to share with the community so people get to know each other better. So if you want the form, it's right here. You can just grab one and take one with you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, the Observer is a good way for us to stay connected. So please contribute something, a joke. If you have any fun facts about Arizona or Mesa, or fun fact about the United States, or when Arizona was a territory, any kind of tidbit that you think people would get a chuckle from, or say, oh, hey, I didn't know that. So put on your thinking caps. You have till August the 1st, so we're looking for your participation. Recycling, you know, we have a aluminum can recycling program, and Alan Smith, who's heading up that program, has a little report for us. Alan, if you won't mind.
Thank you, Margaret. A little bit of history on the recycling program. We started it about 90 days ago, and after some discussion, we had it previously here in LPG about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago or so, and it was commingled recycling, and it was a disaster, and anything and everything was getting thrown into the recycle bin. And so when that happens, then it just goes to the landfill. It does not get recycled. So, and then management also had to pay more for the recycle bin because it went to the landfill instead of being recycled materials. So, so we started a recycle program here with just aluminum cans only. We've done that for about 90 days now, and Thusman Management actually gave us some monies to buy the barrels and the bags and get our materials started for that. And so it's been a real good success in that it's aluminum cans only, aluminum beverage cans only, and it's worked very well. We get a few contraband items in there. We don't want bags in there. We just got a bag in there yesterday of cans. I don't want the bag, just the cans, please. And a few plastic items and a dog food tin or things like that. Don't want those things. We just want the aluminum beverage cans only. And it's working. You guys are getting it done. I really appreciate that very much. We're going to the board or to the management here, I guess the next meeting, our 90 days, they gave us a trial for 90 days and that time is up. So next phase we want to do is plastics, and plastics has their requirements too, that the place recycles only clear plastic beverage containers. So not butter tubs, not those filmy milk jugs, things like that. It's got to be clear plastic and beverage only. And so that's a restriction we're going to have on that. But that's not in place yet. We need management's approval before we can take that step. So hopefully that will come at our next meeting that we have with management. So far, we've recycled 153 pounds of aluminum that, either, I mean, maybe you recycled them yourself, great. Maybe you didn't. So we have 153 pounds of aluminum that did not go into the landfill. And we've also brought to the board $122, about $125 in total from recyclables. So, so that helps fund our LPGRA and allows us to do some things with those funds as well. Any questions? Yes.
Where are the recycle bins?
The recycle bins are located down at where the dumpster is for the green waste. And there's 4 of them down there. If we go to plastic, we'll probably add a couple more. And they will be labeled aluminum or plastic, assuming plastic gets approved. But they're down at the dumpsters area.
We'll talk about your helpers.
Oh, my helpers. Yes, I do. I've got 2 helpers. I've got Dan Shanahan sitting in the back there. Raise your hand, Dan. Thank you. And Tom Carr also helps. I don't see Tom here today, but Tom is helping me. And I've got one other person I'm working on that will also be assisting us. It's kind of a slow time right now, so it's not been a problem with manpower right now. We take up a bag about every 10 days to the recycle place. We take them to Junior's Recycling, which is up on Main Street. And I don't know what else. So, and I've got one more person I'm working on. So
Kitchen recycling?
I haven't gotten with Nancy on kitchen recycling yet. Nancy here at the activities has agreed to recycle aluminum cans up here. And so we will, I still need to get with Nancy and get that worked out so we can have recycling here at the ballroom as well. So, well, baby steps, we're getting there. Thank you.
Thanks to Tom. He put together quite a cogent proposal about recycling that we took to management. And because he outlined everything in such a methodical way, and we did ask for some startup funds, and they were very agreeable to doing that. So we appreciate that. And as he said, our 90 days is more than up. And we meet with management next week. And on our agenda is to add the clear plastic beverage bottles, or bottles, I guess is what they are. So that would be like water and Coke and things like that that are in clear plastic bottles. We'll take questions at the end, okay? So thank you to Alan and to his team of helpers. The next item on your agenda, you'll see, is the open item list. We have this document that we call the open items list, and it's a spreadsheet of all the things that we bring to management and contains their responses so that we can report back to the next open meeting. So anytime you have a concern or a question that you'd like brought to management's attention, we have a form that you can find on the website, lpgra.org. And I have some at the front table here if you'd like to pick one up, just to have it in your possession. But anything people put on there, we take to management at the next management meeting. And so we keep this list up to date. So I will give you the update on what's on the list and what's still happening and what's been closed up already. So we still have recycling on the agenda because we want to bring up the plastic bottles, the clear plastic bottles on our next meeting. So that's still on the agenda. Top on the agenda, in case you're wondering, is the signing of the new leases. At our last meeting, they were still not ready. Mr. Thesman has them in his possession. From our understanding, legal has looked them over. Everybody, who has to look them over has looked them over except for Mr. Thesman. They're in his possession as of the last meeting that we had. We keep bringing this up, meeting after meeting, trying to get some clarity on when we're going to get the new leases and the new rules and regulations. So just know we're on this. We're trying to keep on top of this particular concern. Dogs are always on the agenda, and I think I mentioned that last month. All we ask is that you, as a dog owner, be considerate. Pick up after your dog. Know that you cannot let your dog do its business around the clubhouse here on all the nice green grass. That's not permitted. You need to take your dog to the dog park. And I know it's been hot and you can't really walk your dog on the streets, but take them in the dog cart or golf cart, or if you have a neighbor who has a golf cart, if you don't, ask to have your dog transported. It's too hot to allow those dogs to walk on the streets right now. The dog park watering schedule, that was a concern because the watering was going on when people were there taking their dogs, letting their dogs play and do their business. As of the last meeting that we had with management, the watering schedule was changed to accommodate those hours that most people take their dogs to the park. So I hope that's still happening. If it's not, please let us know. The fountain in front of the clubhouse, update on the repairs. The last information is the parts have been ordered, but because of the COVID and the supply chain disruptions, they're having difficulty getting the parts for that fountain. So the parts are on order, and as soon as the parts are received, the fountain will be repaired. The pool, we do want to let you know that there are cameras out in back of the clubhouse. They can pick up activity over at the tennis courts and pickleball courts, at the pool, and over here in this area where bocce ball and, thank you, bocce ball and shuffleboard take place. So there are cameras there. There are cameras in the mailroom as well. So if there's something going on at the pool that is in contradiction to the rules and regs, we've been told to have you call the office and say, please look at the pool camera. There's some activity that shouldn't be taking place. And we've been promised that that would be handled, that people in the office would look at that, and then they would go out and address the issue so that you don't have to confront neighbors or guests or something like that. So if that's not happening, you need to let us know that as well, because we'll bring that up again to management. We had questions about whether there's a rent increase if additional people live in the house other than the actual lease holders. And we have been informed, and I think it's in your current rules and regs, that yes, when there's a third person occupying the property, that there is an additional charge. Overgrown shrubs sometimes come up on a regular basis. In response to those complaints, about 15 to 25 notices are sent almost weekly to people to take care of problems on the lawn and overgrown shrubs. The big problem is when they block the stop sign, or when they are obstructing your view at a cross street, whether there's a stop sign there or not. Those are the biggest issues. So if you know of an area where that's happening, let us know on one of those forms and we'll bring that up, and those things will be addressed. And they are addressed on a case-by-case basis. Neighborhood Watch, we will be getting new signs that have been issued by the police department. And whenever those new signs are received, they will be installed at the front where the current Neighborhood Watch sign is. The office was given a photocopy of the new sign to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the ambiance or, the way that all the signs look here in Las Palmas Grand. So those signs, they're aware of those signs, and as soon as those Neighborhood Watch signs are received, they will be installed. Also, the office has agreed to provide a list of unoccupied properties, vacant and unoccupied properties to Neighborhood Watch, so that the block captain or the person in that area will know that nobody is in that property and keep an extra eye out when, when something happens. And we have been requested by some folks who fill out those forms that we ask for, whether those forms, whether the names on those forms are released to management. They are not. The only time a name on the form is released is when it pertains to a particular property that has a particular issue that needs to be resolved. That's the only time. Any other time, if you sign one of those complaint concern forms, we do not release the names of those folks who have, have sent us those forms. And also, when someone calls the office to make a complaint, we have been assured that your name is not released to the person that you called about. So if your neighbor, has some issues going on and you call the office, we have been assured that they do not tell your neighbor who made the call about the problem. So if you're finding that that does not happen, just give us give us one of those forms, let us know. We will bring it up again. So that's it on this form. Anything that is brought up today, or we have some new forms that were handed in today, those will be added to our agenda. And we meet with management next Thursday. We meet the Thursday after this meeting to bring up anything that was brought up here at this meeting. So if you want something brought up, if you didn't hear it verbalized here, please give me one of those forms before you leave, and it will be on next Thursday's agenda. Any questions on this? If you have a concern, when we come to the new business, resident questions and comments, you can bring it up at that time. Okay? Great, thank you. So, new business, we have a speaker today. We're trying to have a speaker at every meeting, someone that will bring good information to you as a homeowner, a resident of LPG. And today we have Dennis Headings, and Dennis is from Storm Damage Specialists. They're an organization that we learned about through AMHO, and AMHO is that group of people that represents us as homeowners in 55 plus communities, in mobile home parks, RV parks. They represent us to the state and keep an eye on any legislation that's happening in the state and that might impact us as owners here. And they have given us copies of what's called the Landlord-Tenant Act. You as a homeowner here rent your land, and Thesman is your landlord. You are the tenant. So the Landlord-Tenant Act is what governs what they can do, can't do, what we can do, and what our rights are. So Dennis came to us through that organization and has helped a number of people in the park, and I'm going to let him tell you how he does that. Dennis?
Thank you, Margaret. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We are a company that specializes in identifying storm damage, and not only identifying storm damage, but getting your insurance company to pay for the storm damage. You guys buy a policy, a property and casualty policy, once, 2, 3 times in your lifetime. 90% of those policies are bought over the phone. So what you understand what an insurance company is liable for and what they're not liable for is very much in the dark, because it's not something you guys work with every day. And how many of you actually filed a storm damage claim on a piece of your property? About 3 of you, yeah. So you've been paying all these premiums all these years, and you've never had to file a claim. That's good. But most of the business that we get, 80% of them, Peter's one of them. We went to his house. We found storm damage on his house. We replaced his roof, and all it cost him was his deductible. If we come and work for you and we find damage, we guarantee that the only thing you'll pay is your deductible. And this park has been hit by storms. So far in here, we've done Peter's roof, we've done Peggy's roof, we've done Pam's roof, we've done Sally's roof. We've done quite a few. We've got about 10 to 15 roofs in here, and everybody, the only thing they paid was their deductible. So that is what we're able to do. We're able to come and look at your policies, look at your properties. If there's damage, then I look at your policy and make sure that you have the right policy. The other thing that we do, I'm also a property and casualty insurance licensed agent. I don't sell insurance. I just have that property and casualty, so I understand the policies. And I'm also a public adjuster, which an insurance company can call me to come out and identify the storm damage and file a claim for you. But that is not what I do on either side. I work independently because I'm a client advocate to the insurance companies. If you get rejected by the insurance company, we step in and get you approved if you have legitimate damage. We know how to do that. That's what we do every day. So in this park, if you have a roof here, that if your unit's roof is over 7 years old, I can pretty much guarantee you I can get you a roof for your deductible because they've all been hit. The storm just doesn't hit one or two in an area unless it's a microburst. You had a major windstorm come through here on 3/3/21. The hailstorm we're still working off of, which is the last big hailstorm, that was 12/9/19. So you have 2 years to claim that hailstorm. So that hail date is coming up. But the thing that we will do is I will come to your house. I'll look around, see if you've got hail damage. There's no cost to that. And then I'll also sit down and review your policy with you. I passed out some of these, some information. There's two types of policies, and when I run across these policies, this is the thing that I really try to preempt, and that's why I'm here trying to help you with this today. Because if I run across a policy where somebody's trying to file a claim and that policy is what they call an actual cash value policy, that individual is not going to get very much money for that claim. A lot of you don't know the difference between an actual cash value and a replacement value. Does anybody actually know the difference between those two? Yeah, you do now, yeah. So what it is, if you have a replacement value policy, if I come out and find storm damage, you're going to get everything replaced for your deductible. That's all you'll pay. If you have an actual cash value policy, which there's quite a few of those out there, they're going to depreciate whatever the damage is. If you have a roof that's 15 years old, they'll depreciate that roof 75% of the value of the roof. And all you're going to get is 25% of the cash to repair the roof if you have an actual cash value policy. Also, there's another thing that happens pretty commonly. If you look at the piece of paper that has 728 on the top of it, you'll see down there where it says coverage A. Notice how coverage A is 105,000. You see coverage B, it's conveniently 10% of whatever that dwelling number is at coverage A, and coverage C is 50% of coverage A. And coverage B is for an adjacent structure. Most of you in here will be paying insurance for an adjacent structure, which means an offsetting shed, something that's not attached to your house. I don't think anybody in here has an adjacent structure. I think everybody in here has anything that's on their property is attached to their house. If it's attached to your house, it's not an adjacent structure. What we call this type of a policy where it's the 105, the 10.5, and the 52.5, we call that a package policy. This is how 90% of the policies are sold. You call in, you say, I bought this house for $100,000. Well, then you want to insure it for $100,000. And then we're going to give you $50,000 for your personal contents, and we'll give you $10,000 for an adjacent structure. There's two things in here that are wrong. You don't have adjacent structure. And if you have $52,000 worth of personal contents, you're not going to be able to fit 2 more chopsticks into your units here. I'm telling you, you're going to get a check for 25 to 35,000 tops. Is if God forbid you pull up and everything is in ashes. So you don't want to be paying for $52,000 of insurance when you're only going to be getting $25,000 to $30,000 back. Those are the things, if I come out, look at your properties, look at your house, I'll also go through your policies with you and help you set up your policy and make sure that your policy, you're paying for what you're getting. Liberty Mutual is doing a whole huge marketing campaign on this right now. You know, the one with the emu, just pay for what you need. That is what we do. We come out, we look at your policies and make sure that you're only paying for what you need and you have the right policy to make sure you're covered if you have storm damage or you have a catastrophe. That's why you buy these. So if you want me to come by and take a look at your properties, I'll be over here. I'm going to be here today. I can come out this afternoon and look at them. And you can ask anybody in here that we worked for. I think we've got a good base of references here. We do take care of our clients, and we are the only contracting company that is sponsored by AMHO. So that helps us too. Any questions? Come see me, I can help you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Dennis has been very helpful to lots of us here in the community. So he's graciously agreed to stay afterwards if you want to talk to him briefly, and then make an appointment for him to actually come out and work with you individually. And Headings, Headings, Headings. And Dennis has cards there that he'll be happy to give you, and you can contact him to get a fair, assessment of your roof and your property policy. Yes, free, no obligation. Dennis doesn't try to sell you anything, believe me. Okay, so the next portion is the resident question and comments. And again, these are the little forms that we ask you to complete. We've been accused of being paper pushers, but you know what? These little forms have really helped us get to management and really show them this is a real concern by residents in the neighborhood. We have X number of people who've, given us the same concern. So these are really helpful if you will fill one out if you have a concern. So the meeting is open to anyone who has a question, a comment, and we'll go right here. Yep, you want to come here or can you reach that mic? Whichever one. Okay, come right here. No, we don't, I'm sorry, but it's pretty low.
It's pretty low.
Yeah, look.
Well, they stole my booster box on New Year's Eve, 1964. I was on KTVK. I was doing the weather. Wally Bruner was doing the news. You might remember those names. Gene Burris. Anyway, he did sports. I didn't know anything about weather. Okay, I have noticed for a long time. Oh, I'm Stanley Rockland. Rockland is Russian, it means troublemaker. I do want to say one thing other than what I've got. If there are any French speakers here, get hold of me because we're doing Zooms. We left the restaurants we would go to on Saturday. We do one at 2 o'clock for 2 hours, another Friday morning at 10 for 2 hours, and we've got openings. Okay, so I moved here in 2013, and I always thought how much individuals' irrigation systems, drip systems, sometimes they leak into the street, but that's just a drop in the bucket compared to what I've seen and others to whom I've spoken have seen. When they water the common areas, they just flood these streets. And I thought I was just around the clubhouse, and one night at 11, I was coming home, and Juniper Hills was awash in the seas. And that deteriorates the asphalt. Now they're putting these strips down our street, and it's expensive. And I've been reading about Arizona's water shortages that are getting critical. And I was told by one guy here, they've got vast reserves under those lakes. Well, come to find out they have vast reserves. They've opened some up. So being an old environmentalist from the 60s, it had me greatly concerned. I've talked to some other people. Margaret put me onto this form. I've got one on the table if anybody wants to sign it. And I am told those names are not given to the management office, but we have 13 signatures or whatever we have, or 140. It carries some weight. So I would like to see, I've heard just on this LPG open forum that somebody said, well, they asked about it at the clubhouse of management, and they said that they weren't able to adjust that so it doesn't flood the streets, but it's an egregious waste of a precious resource in this desert, and we're under a sécheresse in French. a dry spell. Drought. I'm losing my English. So I'm very concerned about it, and I got a form and circulated it and got 5 or 6 people to sign. I've got one on my table. They also have them here. I hope they can get LPG convinced to somehow make adjustments to these irrigation common ground systems to where they don't waste so much water. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. It has been a concern, I know, for me too, coming into the community and out by the waterfall out there, and just over the sidewalks and out in the street. So we are in a drought, whether anybody wants to acknowledge that or not. And Lake Mead levels are dropping to the lowest levels ever. So it is a concern, and thank you, Stan, for bringing it up. And we will bring it up to the meeting next week. Anyone else have something you'd like to address? If you'll stand up and come to the microphone, we would appreciate it, and tell us your name and your lot number.
Hi, I'm Nancy McNeil at 440, right across the street.
All right.
And my concern is, well, I don't know exactly what the guard at the guard gate's supposed to do, but they're absent a lot in the guard house. I've had to go and let people in that are coming to visit us, and there's no guard there. It's like, well, geez, it's like 5:30 in the afternoon or 7 o'clock in the evening, and there's no guard. And then when they had the pool party and the dance party at the pool, the guard was there for 45 minutes visiting. Who was at the guard gate? Then I have a daughter-in-law who does DoorDash, and we were leaving it was around 7 o'clock. There's 3 cars at the guard gate, all sitting there. And as soon as we went through the exit, the gate opened up. Well, then I looked in my rearview mirror, all 3 of those cars went rushing through the exit. When I came out, they all went in because there was no guard at the gate. To me, that's a big safety concern. And I'd like to say it's not a complaint, but it's a big concern for me, why we don't have guards at the guard gate. When they're out doing their rounds, what are they doing? What are they looking for? I see one visiting all the time at the pool. So I'd like to know what they're getting paid to do.
Well, they do have rounds that they have to make, and they put the sign in the door that the guard is out doing the rounds, mostly in the evening. If they're not there during the day, it's because they've been called somewhere to do something, or they've taken a rest break, used the restroom. But they usually have a sign there that the guard is out right now and will be back. I understand the concern, and if you will give us
I
one
already
of those.
did.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. We will
Yeah.
put that on the agenda for next week and ask those very questions.
Okay, because I'd like to know what they're doing at their rounds, on their rounds when it's during the day. What are they looking for?
Okay, we'll bring that up and we will ask the question.
All right,
I have
thank
been asked by the head of the guards to remind people that during the day when the gate is open, that you're still to stop at the stop sign and not go breezing through, because it's up to the guard to look at your sticker on the windshield. And if you just go breezing through the gate, they can't see that. So I've been asked to remind people that when you're coming in and the gate's open, you still need to stop there so they can take a look and wave you through. And yes, if you're a resident and you're coming home, you can use your remote, the clicker that you use like at the Guadalupe gate. You can use that over here in the evening when the guard is out on their rounds. That will open that gate. Somebody else have a question? Please come to the microphone and tell us your name and lot number. Thank you. Yeah, my buddy.
Martin Jacoby, 827. I have another concern about the front gate. We're fairly new here, and we had a number of contractors and various people come out to the house at various times. And to kind of cut this short, we learned very quickly to tell people that are coming here to come through the front gate. Contractors want a gate number or this or that. I'm not very good at directions, and 827 is kind of the trick to find, apparently. So I tell them to go to the front gate, get directions and a map. Well, the most recent one got lost, and I had to give him directions and get him to the house. And I said, "Didn't you stop at the front gate?" He said, "They just waved me right through." And so I think that's a little bit of a concern also, so.
Okay, anybody else? Bud, you want to come up to the microphone, please?
I don't walk too well, so I'm gonna stand right here and I think everybody can hear me.
Well, this is for the YouTube. They can't hear you on YouTube unless you use a microphone. Please. Yeah, Bud, one of us is going to bring you the microphone. 1 second.
Thank you. Wow, this is hot. For those of you who use little cars, golf cars, not carts, golf cars. A golf cart you pull with your hands, golf cart you drive. Okay, those of you who use golf cars, when you come to the clubhouse and park in the circle, park with both front wheels up against the curb. Both of them, not just one. So that will make you perpendicular to the curb, and that maximizes the amount of cars that we can put in there. It doesn't, these people that park on an angle take up like 2 spaces. Also, when you park in the slotted areas, if you are the first one there, pull up on the left side of the spot, putting your left wheels along the white line or very close to it. The person that comes in secondly parks on the right side and stays back out of the way so the first person can get out when necessary. Those spots are sized to take 2 golf cars. So that, since we have restricted parking around the clubhouse here, that would help a lot to make it easier for people who are, let's say, mobility restricted, to be able to park close enough to the clubhouse. Also, when you're having somebody come here, tell them not to use GPS to find us. GPS will try to take them through the Guadalupe Gate, which is unmanned. And you cannot open it from your house like you can the front gate. So make sure that they come by the address, not by the name LPG, because the LPG are listing on GPS was made before this whole thing was completed, and it gave the only entrance that was available, which was the Guadalupe Gate. So the GPS system, although that is 20 years old, still takes them through the Guadalupe Gate, not through the Ellsworth Gate. So tell them to use the address. That's it.
Thank you, Bud. Appreciate it.
If I could add one thing about the Guadalupe Gate, management has contacted Google Maps and those people to try and get that changed, and they said it's not a big concern to them, and therefore if they ever get around to redoing their, whatever you call it, the map system, they will adjust it then, but they will not do it on a specific request.
Hi, everyone. As a follow-up to what I had told you about blocking the calls, on your settings on your phone, if you'll go to where it says phone, there is an option that says silence unknown callers. Set that to on, and your phone will never ring if it's somebody you don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. That was helpful.
Anyone else have a question? Okay. Pam has a comment.
Mr. Jacoby, I don't remember your first name. Martin, in response to that, were you calling the front gate and letting them know you were going to have a contractor in?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because if you do call and say, I'm having a contractor, blah, 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 and if they are well-known in the park, they will just wave them through. So if he was somebody that had been here a lot, he's probably on the list, and they'll just say, go ahead.
Thanks, Pam. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am? No, wait, no, for the YouTube, yeah, for folks watching at home, they need to, you can stand right here if you like. You can stand here. You can stand here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't plan on speaking today, but I just remembered something that happened to me yesterday. I came home from Costco and backed into my driveway, and I started to unpack the car, and I didn't have that much. And then I went to go lock the car up, and I looked at the street, and it actually had the pattern of my tires on the street of me pulling up to the neighbor's house across the street and backing in. So it was 11 o'clock. The temperature was 99. So it wasn't like 1:15, but the blacktop was in my driveway from my tires. And I took pictures of the pattern of my tires on the street, and we're very disappointed in the blacktop job. We have patches, low, high, all over the street. I live on 12th, left of the gate. And I don't know if anybody else noticed not all the streets look like our street. I think our street looks really bad. And we noticed to right of the gate on 12th, they did some work and some people had to park away from their street. I don't know what happened, but it looked like some new asphalt was put on that street. But our street is really, it looks patched up. It doesn't look smooth at all. But I was very disappointed, so I called the office and I let them know. And they just asked me what date, was our street repaired with the blacktop. And I said, well, I don't remember the date exactly. I thought it was last week. And I was kind of disappointed that the blacktop would be soft. It was only 99 degrees. So they just said, thank you,
I live on 12 on the other side, but they just recently redone 12 with the new service.
Yeah, well,
If you'll do me a favor,
Yeah.
I'll bring it up next week, next Thursday, so you can email that to me or drop it off. It tells you right up here.
okay,
Okay, and we'll be happy to bring that up again.
all right,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question or a comment? And don't forget, if you do and you're shy and you don't want to speak up and have the YouTube viewers see you, we have the forms there. You can fill one out and leave it here. You can take it home. You can email it to us at the board's Gmail address, or you could drop it off at any board member's home. So we'd appreciate that, okay? Anything else? Okay, then we're going to adjourn the meeting. I'm going to thank the viewers for showing up. Don't you leave here if you're here, because you have time for the 50/50 and the door prize. But thank Larry and Larry's crew for live streaming us again, and the microphones and, all of the accoutrements that make watching on YouTube an adventure. And just to let you know, maybe people don't watch live stream, but we get a report from Larry that after the meeting's over and he posts it up on there, that you can watch it anytime. We have 60, 70 people that will tune in and watch that, this meeting after the fact. So it's a popular, and Stan has his little form there if you want to sign Stan's form. But may I have a motion to adjourn? Bud, thank you. Second? Thank you. All those in favor? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you. Now, don't go away. Okay, 50.